Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are you doing? Thanks for tuning in to the live stream. I'm going to be going through 8 tracks that I have been working on over the years and want to put into a brand new album. I've been working for a couple months now doing some mixing, some with the studio that I recorded at. Same Sky Productions. Thank you to David Messier and Andre Kantov for those. Wonderful days at the studio and always having a good time at that studio. But thank you so much for continuing to always just be a great home for my recordings and for my original music. Yeah, so this first thing that you heard while you were waiting is some of the first track called Almost Alone. Um, and Yeah, so I guess we just dive right into all of what this is about. So the new album, everything else, the working title right now is People I Like. Just a random thing. We'll see how it works. I'll explain more later. It features myself on trumpet, flugelhorn, and guitar, Tony Bray on saxophone, Dave Scher on guitar, Bryce Powell, my cousin, on keys, Alex Brown on bass, and Aaron Easley on drums. So yeah, I'm want to make this whole thing kind of just loose and chill and fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy the tunes, enjoy some of the nerd sessions. I'm going to pull up some of the actual audio files and tracks in Logic Pro X on my computer, and you guys can check out and see kind of the under the hood, if you will, of the tunes I've been working on. And yeah, so let's dive into this. I'm looking down here because I have my iPad all set up for transitional work. So check this out. Boom. So this is the session track for Almost Alone. This will be the first track on the new album. And just a little bit about this tune, Almost Alone. This is kind of like I think this is the earliest of all the tunes that I wrote for this album. I think this is like the earliest one that I wrote, probably like around 2017. But it's a kind of like a transitional time in my life. Getting out of an old living situation, getting into a new living situation, was overcoming a lot of physical and mental anxiety, and learning kind of how to trust myself and trust my art a little bit more. So the song is kind of a representation of those feelings, and just kind of like my me being cautiously optimistic for the future. So yeah, so the stuff that you heard when you were waiting was part of this. So I want to open up the album with kind of a thing here. So what I did was kind of having this, like, there's this crowd noise here that you'll hear at the beginning, kind of like this like chaotic, chaotic life, chaotic thing, and then kind of like getting out of it with a weird kind of sound effect, me taking a deep breath, and then just being almost alone. So let's check it out. All right. So yeah, solo guitar piece. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That will open the album. Just a couple of things for the nerdy side of this is basically that there is some cool effects and stuff that I wanted to do that I didn't quite know how to do. So I did a lot of experimenting and stuff like that. That's all kind of all the little extra kind of tidbits you can hear in the background. So if we play this guitar part here, you can kind of hear some of this. There's a little bit of like reverse guitar effects, as well as I took those reverse guitar effects and then did some crazy stuff to it. pitch shift basically up an octave, put some kind of weird distortion to it, a little bit of a weird reverb, those kind of things. So I'll let you kind of hear those things as I play this track here. So there's everything all together. If I take away all the effects, that's just the guitar. Then I added a very big reverb to give it some nice kind of openness. And then did this reverse kind of thing that you really can't hear until you add in the octave. So just to hear that by itself, that's just the reverse guitar. That's the reverse effect. So that's it by itself, and I pan that all hard left, and then use the pitch up of this on the hard right. So you can hear that on the right being up-pitched. Then having just the reverb, then everything together. So a very cool, kind of fun, spacey effect that I really dug and enjoyed. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that track. I'm going to save this one, and we're going to move on to track number 2, which would be my track Blue Beauty. Let me pull that up real quick. Oh no. I won't do that ugliness next time. So you don't see my software that I'm running to. I'm using OBS to stream. In case anybody is wondering, that's what that was, that crazy screen. Sorry. Yeah, so this next one is called Blue Beauty. This is part of a songwriter group. It's called the 1159, as in the time, 1159 Songwriters Group. And this is from 2018. And it's basically, it's like Dave Madden started a songwriting group. He's a great songwriter, killer pianist, just all around awesome musician, awesome arranger. Played with him for many years. Shout out to Dave Madden. And he started this group basically for not just singer-songwriters and that kind of stuff, but also for people like myself, instrumentalists, people of all sorts. But basically just starting a songwriting group so you could have kind of I don't know, just like a large group. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm lost for words because I'm streaming. But yeah, just kind of like a fun time, and did these cool prompts basically to like come up with a song. So we had to write a song every 2 weeks at the beginning of the year. I think 2018 was the first one. So I've done it every year since then. So the prompts for 2018 were old, new, borrowed, and blue. And he had a little bit more into it, but I did one song. I did 4 songs, one for each old, one for new, one for borrowed, and this is the one for blue. And all you really need to know about this song is that it's about a very beautiful girl that had blue hair at the time. So yeah, let's check it out, shall we? Yeah. Yeah, I really dig that one. I really dig that one. Um, just all around, it was one of those ones we did at Same Sky where like we just kind of I think we did maybe 3 takes of this, and I think we kept the second one just because it just felt good. Everything just felt good. Shout out to Same Sky for always making this place, making that recording space just always feel good and always sound good. Um, so yeah, we really didn't, do too much kind of level wise. I did some small EQ work, just on the drums, just to kind of give it, its own little space and everything, just to kind of mix it that way, and of course some panning and stuff like that. Um, and just a tiny, tiny little bit of reverb on some things, but we really didn't do a lot mixing wise to this because it just sounded so great. So yeah, it was super easy. I think this is kind of one of the ones that gave me confidence to start mixing my own music and mixing my own tracks, just because it was so kind of easy to dive into with this one. So yeah, a couple things on this. Just that I just every time I listen to it, I'm just like, man, this is really good. Of course, Tony's sax solo is just murderous. I love it. I love it. Love everything about it. I love his tone. Love his ideas. Love his playing. Tony, miss you, buddy. We'll get to play a show soon, I'm sure. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to say soon. We'll see when when I will enjoy sharing the stage with all these guys when it happens. So yeah, there's just this trade-off part at the end here, this kind of like vamp section at the end. Let me see if I can grab where it is. But just every time I listen to it, like the perfect like shout out to this band, because these guys are killing it and make this like pretty much exactly what I wanted. This like kind of like slow, energetic ramp up to this like nice kind of like release at the end, right? So let me see if I can find this kind of start to this turn around-ish kind of thing. I think it's somewhere around here. Yeah. So like keep in mind, like this is like the coolest. I love how Aaron and Alex especially kind of pick up the vibe of this like slowly building up. The drums and bass really kind of carry this all the way through. Just kind of listen to the slow building excitement they give, and Alex's licks in this are absolutely killing on bass. Get a little more in there. Alex, start digging in. Ooh! This nice kind of slow the train down. Just absolutely killing. Absolutely killing. That's, I mean, the bass alone with some of these licks, man. Alex just killing it. Yeah, man. I dig that one too. Boom, 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 boom. And this big arpeggio at the end here. Killing, man. Absolutely killing. I totally dig it. Yeah, so that is tune number 2. Hope you dug that one. Let me know what you guys think. Let's see here. I'm gonna check out some of this. Some of this. I got the chat pulled up as well, so you guys feel free to chat with me. This is interactive. It's not just me sitting here talking to a screen. So yeah, that's tune number 2. Let me know what you guys think. Ian with the Mangione Feels So Good vibes. Yeah. It's kind of that whole record. It's kind of like permanently stuck into my muscle memory. I think, Ian. Definitely one of my favorites for sure. Yeah. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in and all that kind of stuff. Glad you guys are enjoying it. Let me know if anything sounds funky, if anything's not working. Bear with me with the video. My camera on my computer is meh. It's okay, but it can lag a little bit behind on the stream. So it ain't about the video; it's about the music, right? So yeah, let's move on to the next tune here, which would be Now Space. Yeah. Here, before I do this, I'm going to do the not so. Let's do this. I will switch the screen so that way you guys don't have to see all the ugliness that's happening. Yeah, I'm catching on. I'm learning. Just pulling this tune up. Yeah, also, I'm going to be doing all these kind of streams and stuff like this with new music I'm working on. Maybe even in the future, maybe I can stream a show with a band, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to tell you now, like, share, subscribe. Like this post, share it with some people, some friends that you think need to listen to some good music, and subscribe to my channel so you can get notified when I post more stuff, when I do more videos like this, or when I throw anything on my YouTube. So yeah. I think I got everything pulled up for this tune. This one, let's see, let me pull this up. So this tune, definitely when I was mixing it, this is one that is influenced by Lewis Cole. He's a great drummer, keyboardist, just general awesome musician. Really, really cool dude. I got to meet him. He actually stayed at the house I was renting at the time when he was in town touring with Knower, and got to know him a little bit, and was just kind of in awe by his really chill, really, I don't know, just like his demeanor towards music was very loving and very caring, and there was never any kind of ego or animosity at all. It was, I don't know, it's just, it means a lot when really good musicians are very humble and awesome. So I was very pleased and very happy that he was such a good dude. Him and Genevieve were great people, and it was so awesome to hang out with them. So shout out to Lewis Cole and Genevieve of Knower. Thanks for staying at the house while you guys were in town. So I digress. This is heavily influenced by Lewis Cole's kind of stuff, his vibe, his work. I forgot what the tune and what's the title of it? It's on his album, Time, his newest album, Time, and it's just this vibe, this killer thing I really enjoyed, and it was definitely kind of brought me to a place. Oh, actually, no, this isn't. I'm talking about a completely different tune. I have it out of order in my notes. Fantastic. So we'll get to all that crazy Lewis Cole, Knower meditation stuff in a second after this tune, which is all about being chill and having fun, with a little bit of Schofield in mind. So this tune, the third track on my album, It's called Chillax. And it's just like a fun, chill, groovy, kind of funky, just kind of fun, silly tune. And I wanted to kind of have like a Wolfpackish vibe, that kind of fun, that kind of silly, but still kind of sound old and chill. And I don't know, just kind of somewhere in that vibe of what felt fun and cool to me. And also kind of like a fun challenge to um, get at my like guitar ego brain, where like I get like really intimidated by really good players because guitar is not my first instrument. Trumpet is, um, and I've learned a lot of stuff on guitar, and I try really hard to learn stuff on guitar. But it's Austin, and there's a lot of really good guitar players. One of my absolute favorite guitar players is Dave Scher, and he's all over this album. It was all over my EP. Go check that out as well. Forrest Waltz is solo on there. There's actually a video of him recording that in the studio on my YouTube, so check that out. But absolutely one of my favorite guitar players in the world, not just in Austin. Also a great, humble, good dude, good guy. Before the quarantine happened, he was actually on tour playing with Eric Johnson, so like dream gig there. So yeah, I kind of wanted to step up my game a little bit and not being so concerned about how good I was at guitar. Kind of challenge that ego brain and just be like, hey man, just have fun playing guitar, have fun, making music and doing stuff. Don't worry so much about what really good players think you're playing, that kind of a thing. And this was like a challenge that I gave myself to kind of do. So I wrote this tune with that in mind, but also but just having fun, really, and kind of what fun means to me and that vibe. So I'm probably saying a bunch of the same stuff here, but let's check it out. Let's listen to it. And yeah, this is like to test my confidence, basically. I just had a guitar battle with Dave Scher. So here it goes. Oh yeah. Oh man, so much fun, so much fun. Uh, just when I don't think about having to play against Dave Scher and playing with Dave Scher, uh, all of a sudden it's not intimidating and it's just an absolute blast. I got to remember that if I ever have to play with another ridiculous player again, just be like, just remember, it's just like Dave Scher, just have fun. But yeah, absolute blast doing this one. The Wolfpeckish thing, I think, started with the keyboard part. So it was this was like really kind of how the song started. What I started with really was just this keyboard part right here. So yeah, it's kind of Wolfpeckish, if you will. And Andre nailed it with getting just the right sound with it too. Getting this kind of like you can hear like the tines, you can hear the bells and tines of the Rhodes really well. I think that's coming mostly off of the mic, maybe. It could be the DI. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's the mic. Yeah, absolutely kill it. It's a very cool. I'm glad like we really kind of got that sound going. And then after that, I just added some whatchamacallit, some chorus, some wavy little chorus on the keys, just to kind of get a little bit there. That's kind of the settings. Um, yeah, just so that's kind of where that all started, was just with that keys part. Um, and then after that, I just kind of lined up all the other stuff with it. So the bass and everything else kind of. Yeah, just kind of funky and fun and chill and fun, man. Hey, just chillax, bro. Just play your heart out, man. So yeah, that's what that song is all about. Yeah, and just like kind of some other nerdy stuff here, with all the guitar stuff. I wanted like the idea to kind of go with Dave Scher here was that I got my first um, uh, semi hollow body I've ever purchased, I've ever owned. I got this killer. Actually, it's right here. It's right next to me. If you guys want to see it. And I can go full screen so you guys can see this guy. This awesome guitar. It's a New York D'Angelico, and I believe they're Taiwanese. I think they're made in Taiwan, or at least this one is. It's a Broadway premiere, I do believe. But I really dug the color. I dug the way it felt, the way it played, everything. It was just it had a very Scofield vibe to it. It's got like pretty hot pickups in it, so it can get that kind of grittiness to it even when you're on a cleaner amp, that kind of a thing. So I had this sound, I always usually like my workhorse on other gigs and everything else is usually my Strat, which is back here. But this guy, I felt really captured that kind of. You can get that like it's not plugged in, but you can get that right next to the bridge sound. It's a really cool. Instead of just picking where everybody normally picks, it could do that Schofield-y thing on it. It's just got that vibe to it. I really dig the sounds and stuff that I can get on this guitar. So it really drove kind of the tunes, I don't know, vibe a little bit, and I wanted it to be kind of fun, but also be kind of in that Schofieldy world, you know. So going back to the track, having the Dave is a Strat guy, so he's like always going to play on a Strat. He's rarely I've seen him with the Telecaster, you know, a few times, that kind of stuff. I don't know if you still, Dave, do you still have your old Eastman Awesome Jazz box? If you still have that, I'd like to know, because that was a cool guitar. But he's a Strat guy, you know. So I wanted to have this cool. I thought it was a cool idea to have this kind of Schofield thing with the humbuckers and the semi-hollow, and then this contrast of this, like, you know, old school awesome Stratocaster tone. I think it's one of the things I really love about Dave is his tone is phenomenal, and he always finds such great tone when he's just like plugging straight into the amp like he did on this. It's kind of like his MO. Like, it's ridiculous. He can get so much out of just plugging into an amp. I think more than any other guitar player really I've ever seen. There's a few, you know, high-ranking members of of guitar world that can do that, you know, and Dave is definitely one of them. So having this kind of contrast between sounds, I think, is a really cool thing, and it really played well with this tune. And I forgot what amp he used on this as well. I think it was a Tweed Fender Junior, Fender Blues Junior, Tweed, old Tweed box. But yeah, just like this solo, man, just like this flavor is so killing. He's got so much touch and so much. He can really get those sounds out of the guitar and the amp just the way he wants them, you know. And that's something I really dig about his playing. Really dig about what he does, you know. Like, no pedal, no nothing, just some amp dirt turned up, you know, and you can hear some of the background, but that's fine. That's fine because it sounds killing. Woo! Yeah, dude. Like, that's just stinky. It's just stinky good, like Limburger cheese. And then, you know, coming up on you know, the semi-hollow tone. You know, and it's like I think the only thing I used, I had a Fender Blackface Deluxe, and then a little bit of Tube Screamer, but that was it. Like, most of the drive is from the guitar and the amp, really. So it's kind of similar, you know, like we weren't using a lot of effects or anything. So that being said, there were some things that I did to spice up the guitars a little bit. So a couple of things. There's just some kind of like, I added some like room vibe to the guitars, so you can kind of hear like a little bit of room verb, but just kind of give it a little bit of like three-dimensional kind of stuff, you know? So there's like that reverb. It's just very slight. It's just like kind of like, you know, the amp in the back of a room kind of a thing. So I did that with both guitars, just to give it a little bit more of a three-dimensional thing. But I also add, just to kind of make it sound older and cool and fun. And I did this to like just basically all this stuff in green down here, like all of this basically, it's just guitar tracks. So I snagged all those guys and busted into just a track just so I could use this Wolf compressor. And I really didn't compress too much at all. And I just strictly used some of this flutter and this like weird kind of phase shifty thing. So that's what you're hearing on the guitars. That's like where it kind of sounds like it's going kind of like kind of back and forth and weird, and it kind of has this old kind of vibe to it. That's like all like the Wolf compressor. So that's like all the guitars together with everything, you know. So if I take that off, so it's a little more like right in the middle. When I turn that on, it gives a little more movement, a little more dimension, you know. Yeah, you know. So it's like that. All the guitars and everything else are kind of like in their own kind of funky, weird, goofy world, and then everything else is like rhythm section tied on, you know. Yeah, so I think that's all I got on this one. This one was super fun. I can't wait. I'm gonna have to go back to the K Flatt and Friends shows, bringing guitars with me, just to do some of these tunes because it's so much fun. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Now we're gonna go to another tune, the one that I was actually talking about before I started this one, which is Now Space, is I do believe, the fourth tune. Yes, the fourth tune of the album. So let's pull that one up. Now Space. Pulling up the Now Space. Okay, this one, and I'll kind of just re-hit some points I was talking about on this one. Super influenced by some like Lewis Cole magic of Nowhere, and also kind of like the vibe, I guess, or like the inspiration of this as well is I've used over the past couple of years to tame my anxiety, to control and heal my mental health. I've used a lot of meditation, and I've used it as a great tool in my life for a lot of different things and stuff that I would have never imagined I would use meditation for. But it's such an important tool in my life now, and I really enjoy it and really dig it for how it helps me and what it does. And I hope you guys can explore it as well. But for me, it's getting into this. I'm not thinking about anything in the past. I'm not thinking about anything in the future. I'm in the now. I'm in exactly what's happening, whether it's good or bad, whatever. Like, I'm very in touch with it, and I'm very, and this is, when I'm meditating, I'm very in touch with exactly what's happening now. How does my body feel? How am I breathing? What am I worried about? What am I anxious about? And feeling those kind of physical things come up in my body, and how my body's reacting or trying to talk to me. So this is about that space. This is about that feeling, that thing where you feel like you're super hyper focused, and you can really be in touch. You're very grounded. You can be really in touch with your body, really in touch with things around you, and just like being able to get into that space and enjoy that space, and really live in that moment, live in exactly that moment now. So that's the inspiration of it. The musical side of it is very influenced, I would say, by Lewis Cole. And what else do I have on the notes here? Oh, and also there's one I did kind of a musical play here. There's one chord that kind of comes around in the chord progression And my brother kind of talked about it when I kind of gave him some test mixes and stuff. That it's like a cool twist theoretically, and it's just a borrowed chord from another mode basically of what I'm using. But it has this kind of emotional thing that I wanted to play with when you're meditating and when you're really in the zone and you have that little moment of something wants to kind of like sneak in and grab you away. And there's a little bit of tension to fight it, but it's kind of just letting it pass through instead of like trying to grab onto it and fight it and struggle with it. It's you kind of let it happen. So it's something that's kind of comes in, but it just flows through the chord progression really well. So I think there's some metaphor action there with that one chord. So see if you can hear it in this chord progression. And there's also a little intro here just to kind of get that I don't know, that kind of like faster just because it's represented in music, but that kind of like zoom into that space when you're starting to meditate and you feel yourself go into it. Excuse me. So yeah, enough of me talking. Let's check it out, shall we? Let me pull up the mixer real quick, and I'll get that over here. So there are all the tracks and all the craziness. I will say also, this was, this is one of the ones that like I really wanted to produce and really have a lot of sound effects and crazy weird stuff going on, and have it be more of not just the recording kind of a thing. Like some of my other recordings. So this one is like heavily produced, heavily kind of ear candied and treated. But it was also challenging for me since I'm kind of brand new to the mixing world of how to do it and everything else, because this track is so lush and so big. And so shout out to, before I forget, shout out to my 601 studio crew guys that really helped me when I started mixing this. I completely scrapped my first mix and started from scratch again and did this. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. Sorry, I didn't unmute myself as well. Wonderful. Yay. Sorry, guys. Got it unmuted now. I will try to restart Logic and see if we can get that buzz to go away. Sorry for having the buzz, and we'll see if I can fix it really quick. So we'll do a nice restart. I do have a lot of plugins and stuff on that tune, so it could have just been like, hey, you've had this program on for quite a while, so it's probably just gonna kind of be funky and strange. And I'm also live streaming on my computer, so CPU could just be a little overloaded right now, but we'll see. Matter of fact, do I have anything turned up? Let me just do some quick tweaking here as we stand by. Okay, let's see what this sounds like. And please let me know if you still hear buzzing, if you still hear it kind of like being buzzy and being weird. Is that better? Let me know. Let me know if you hear buzzing or not. All right. So that one is Now Space. So a couple of things on this one. I would say more than a couple, just because this was like the challenging produced one. I had to do a lot of things, and I learned a lot about mixing and kind of how to treat certain tracks and all that kind of stuff. So the beginning here is basically like the last chord. You can kind of see where I cut it as well. This last chord here. I'll play it real quick. Well, here, I'll do this so you can see it. With this last chord here, that one there, with the crazy reverb on it, yeah, it's just for the ending. So I took that without any of the effects, and then recorded it in reverse, and then put that at the beginning. So you will hear all these guys right down here. I'll do this. All these guys right here. This is all of those, just that keyboard, literally that chord backwards. Yeah, cool, right? So then with that, like you can kind of like, I don't know, it gave me like kind of like a Pink Floydish vibe kind of a thing. So I threw in this like telephone signal, like busy signal, like your mind's busy, you know, like you're zooming into this world. So like your mind's like get really busy, and then you just get smacked out of it by the snare. So you'll hear like the beep 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 of the busy signal, and then the snare just being like boom, and then I added a bunch of reverb on just the one snare hit. Kind of cool, right? That's the reverb still going. Yeah, and then so that's like the intro trick that I did. And then the keyboard part. This is like the keyboard part is like where I started basically, where this kind of tune came to be into fruition. So we'll listen to these guys just by themselves, just so you can kind of hear the keyboard part. And we did it with basically a Rhodes plugged into Bryce's amp. And in that chain we had, I think, a chorus pedal that they had at Same Sky that sounded really cool. And then the direct signal of the Rhodes is just straight up direct to the Rhodes. And then we had two mics on their grand piano. So we have their grand piano as well as the Rhodes tracked for the keyboards, basically. And then I mixed those down, added some reverb and some effects and all that kind of a stuff. So yeah, here's that just zeroed out by itself, just so you can hear it. So that's that. And what affects all the stuff that I have on here? Let's see. So on the piano, I'll move that up. On the piano, I have some Wolf compressor action, as well as like some heavy compression on it, just to like really squeeze it and kind of take off some of the articulation. There's some heavier articulation just because the mics are so dang good. But the Wolf compressor too, like I compressed the crap out of it, but I did a lot of the lo-fi signal sound, so it like really kind of ages the audio a little bit, so like we can kind of hear like just the piano. So you can hear like how squished and compressed the signal is with the compressor, but also with the Wolf compressor. So if I take out the Wolf compressor, it's just piano, right? It's just this kind of straight piano sound, but it's still compressed, you know, but it's much more kind of straightforward. But with the Wolf compressor in there, it does that phasey, shifty kind of aged, like a fine wine kind of a thing to it, you know? So it has like a really cool effect to it. And then I mix that pretty low compared to the Rhodes. So just having the Rhodes by itself. And I like that contrast is really cool. Just having like just a straight Rhodes. Just a DI sound like that, but then having this like affected amplified sound. It's like pretty heavy chorus, but it doesn't sound that much when you have them both in, right? Which is really cool. I really dig that. And then mix it in the piano all together. And those are completely dry, pretty much, until the very end when I slapped in this like crazy reverb thing just to get like this kind of blossoming out tail at the very end. And I think I slowly kind of sneak it in as well. So let's check that out in the automation. I know I have some automation stuff happen at the end there with the keyboard. So we can definitely, yeah. So there's the send of the of those reverbs, kind of coming at the very end. That very last chord is when it all kind of kicks in. So you can kind of hear that when it happens. All dry, and then reverb. Yeah, spacey and cool. Cool effects. Also, another little effect thing I did was at the very end of the flugelhorn solo. So you can kind of hear that like little weird thing kind of pass by. And that was, go back down to that guy. There's this kind of like crazy effect that I put in, and we can zero it out too. I'll find it, we can zero it out just so you can kind of hear it. We'll just solo that, and you can just hear the effect by itself. So here it comes. Whoa. So yeah, it's like a tricked out reverb kind of a thing. Just passing from right to left with that automation. And I think, yeah, it's the space for it. Hard Air. The titles for some of these. Pretty goofy, pretty silly. Then what else do I have? Oh, that's the deep space reverb too, on there too, with the filter. So that's like part filter, part reverb, basically on that sound, on that funky sound, you know. But then just like sticking the reverb or sticking just the flugelhorn solo in there. Yeah. So yeah, that's like kind of like you can hear that a little bit with everything else, and then we'll play it without in context here. So yeah, kind of coolish ear candy stuff that I wanted to do. With that, everything else is pretty, I would say, pretty straightforward. The other trick to this is like a challenge that I learned mixing wise, with a lot of like warm sounding stuff. is kind of giving everybody their own EQ room. I had to do a lot of EQ treatment to kind of like scoop out some mids out of some different things, and then give those mids to different tracks, all that kind of stuff. So it was very challenging, but I'm hope you guys are happy with this mix. I'm very happy with this mix, and yeah, I can't wait to get it out on the record and give it out to you guys. So that is Now Space. Let's move to track 5, which everybody should know. Everybody should know this one. It's Old Puppers. And this one, I don't have a mix session of, because we mixed this at Same Sky, basically right after we recorded it. So like the last day, or the second to last day, I think, of the time that I had at Same Sky, we recorded this track. So I just threw in the high quality wave file that's already mixed and mastered, mixed by Andre Kantov, and mastered by the great Nick Lewis, or Nick Landis, sorry. Mr. Landis, that did my old EP, does a lot of things. He's a great mastering engineer. Shout out to Nick Landis, he's fantastic. You're about to get all these tracks soon, buddy. Yeah, so if you haven't heard it, it is a single. It is already out, but I'm going to throw it on this album just because I think it's part of this group of this collection of songs. So yeah, I just threw it in a WAV file, and here it is. You guys can check it out. Old Puppers. Yeah, that one's for you, Zeppelin. Love you, buddy. So this tune we'll talk about a little bit. This tune is for my dog that passed away in 2017. His name was Zeppelin, and I had him for almost 16 years. Got me through a lot of things. Got me through the college years. Got me through my dad's battle with cancer. Lots of stuff, man. He was a damn good dog. I'll get another one someday, but pretty big and awesome shoes to fill, awesome paws to fill there. Um, yeah, he was born March 17th, 2002, and died December 13th, 2017. An old wise soul. He was always a chill dog. He was always really goofy. He had a personality, but he was, especially his older days, he was really chill and almost kind of grumpy, but in a good way. Well, sorry, I peeked a thing there a little bit. But yeah, in the vibe too, I think I had with the tune, other than just kind of being that kind of old country thing, uh, kind of influenced on uh, the uh, country for old men or whatever, the Schofield record, and I kind of got that vibe from him, and it was a weird kind of ingrained in like my childhood, really. I think of you remember those old books when you were a kid, or at least in my generation, maybe a little bit before my generation too, of Hank the Cow Dog. There was like a bunch of books of Hank the Cow Dog, and it was like mysteries and stories of an old ranch dog solving mysteries, or having adventures and all that kind of stuff. And always remember like that kind of wise old country, dog or whatever kind of a thing. And Zepp was definitely wise in his own ways, and so it was like kind of influenced in that vibe. Somewhere in my head, I definitely had some Hank the Cow Dog vibes in there. So I had to get a glass. So here's to Zeppelin. Cheers to you, buddy. Love you and miss you very, very much. Thanks for all the things that you taught me. Yeah, and I hope you enjoy the tune. It is currently out as a single. So most places that you can get music, minus Spotify, because I do not support that platform. You can get it, but you can check it out at all the details and everything where you can get it are at my website, Beyond, on kevinflattmusic.com. So yeah, go and check that out. It has its own dedicated page on my website as well. So just click on the Old Puppers up top, or in the drop-down menu on your mobile device, and just scroll down and you can check out all the details for that tune. So now that we've all heard of Old Puppers, let's go to the sixth song of this record. This one's called, also another random note that I just remembered since I looked down. This tune was also the one of the 1159 songwriter group tunes that I did in 2018 of the Old, New, Borrowed, and Blue. This was the Old. So shout out once again to Dave Madden and the songwriting crew, the 1159 songwriting group, for all the inspiration and all the great tunes. I think that's two so far. I think so, right? Yeah, Blue Beauty and Old Puppers so far. And speaking of that, we're going to add one more to it. So this next tune, this sixth tune on this album, is called The Drawing Board. This is also another one that we mixed at Same Sky, so I don't have a full-blown Logic session of, but I just imported the WAV file and threw it into Logic so you guys can kind of see the audio file and everything else. But shout out once again to Same Sky and especially to Andre for doing a killer job of mixing of this. And also, this is like a very cool. Bryce added a lot to this one. Not that he didn't add a lot to every of the other tunes, but just in a creative sense with this one, because I didn't quite know how to fill some of the holes in this. And him and Andre got together, and they were just like, "Hey, man, let's get the organ in on this one, and let's really." Get those sounds going and everything else, and it fit beautifully. It's great in this tune, and thank you, Bryce, for having that idea. And I just saw a comment there. I still have all my Hank the Cowdog books. Yeah, Miss D, that's amazing, Mr. Benedetto. I hope you're doing well. That's amazing. That's so cool. I would love to reread some of those old Hank the Cowdog books. That's amazing that you still have some. So I think I have this tune pulled up and everything else. Yeah, I still got it pulled up. So let's check out this tune. Let me go to the session so you can see it. Yeah, what else about this tune? So Drawing Board is a 2019 Songwriter 1159 Songwriter Group tune. So the stuff that we drew on those, all the prompts for the 4 songs that we had to do, was Row Your Boat. It was basically the lines of Row Your Boat. So there's Row, Row, Row Your Boat, then Gently Down the Stream, and then Merrily, 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 Merrily for the 3rd song, and Life is But a Dream for the 4th song. So this was Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And basically just what I got from that prompt was the process, the action of starting ideas, starting songs, and kind of how this was born, how it was named the Drawing Board. This is kind of like an artistic interpretation of of me being what Tyler Cornett calls a habitual option exhauster. I like to have lots of ideas. I like to try them all until I find one that fits and that I like. But I want to make sure that I've tried them all before I pick one that I do like. It's a thing. It happens. Very nitpicky. And I tend to do that a lot. I've tried to do that less nowadays, and just kind of go with what feels right and make it happen. But I still find myself kind of doing this every now and then. So kind of the musical whole idea of this was working on something and then second guessing your idea. So the process of brainstorming and getting down to the nitty gritty, getting into the groove of things, thinking about those ideas, getting one idea that feels really good and then get excited about it, but then second guess it and then go right back to the think tank and be like, oh, well, is there other ideas? Is there other things? So it's kind of going back to the drawing board. So you'll kind of feel this throughout the tune. It's I'm thinking about stuff, it's getting real intense, and then I find this idea and it's this glorious bridge. And I'm like, yeah, this feels awesome. This is fine. It's so good. And then boom, right back to that drawing board. So here it is, the drawing board. Man, Aaron Easley on them drums, man, absolutely killing. Uh, Drums sound really good. Aaron's such a fantastic drummer, and I love playing with him. Such a musical drummer. Really listens into what everybody's playing. Really kind of vibes and feeds on everybody else's interactions. Yeah, and really fun to let him kind of go off at the end there. And also just all those little organ deals and organ swells and stuff that Bryce did were just so great in there. Just letting those guys kind of, you know, run loose on that and add all those little things in there was just so fantastic. Didn't plan on it, and those guys rode with it, did a great job. So thanks again, Bryce and Andre, for those killing ideas. Yeah, and awesome job, Andre, on mixing that bad boy. So yeah, that one is that one. That is the drawing board. This next one, as they say in Monty Python, now for something completely different. I'm also a guitar player, very influenced by a lot of different guitar players. I've already mentioned Schofield quite a bit throughout this album, but now we're going to go to the stuff that started it all. I remember I have this memory. I'm going to see if Ian remembers this. I have this memory of being in a Blockbuster Music right down the street from our house, and it was like you could still you could like get CDs and listen to them like at Blockbuster, basically. Like you could sample music before you bought it, which was mind blowing at the time. You know, I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And we were looking at albums, we were looking at different stuff, we were looking at all sorts of junk, and Ian was like, check this out, check out this record that I'm listening to. And went over there, and it was Joe Satriani's Crystal Planet. And that record just like, ugh. You could say it ruined me, because it was like, after that album, I had to get an electric guitar, I had to get pedals, I had to get like all the stuff. I had to do that. I just had to like, I had to experience that sound myself and do it and just become that guitar player, you know. And then I went down the rabbit hole of Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Andy Timmons, Eric Johnson, Alan Holdsworth, you know, just all these like pretty, just epic solo, you know, guitar players. And so yeah, like I've just always been in love with that type of music, and Crystal Planet really was like such a huge thing. Like I still listen to that record, and I'm just like, I remember every little nuance of every song, you know. I used to be able to play some of those dang tunes. I should relearn some of those songs, man. So that brings me to this tune called Eventide, that I will pull up now so you guys can listen to. And this was recorded at Same Sky, and then we did everything, and we kind of mixed it down, and I was really happy with everything, minus my guitar sound. And we used like we did the thing, like it was the we went down like Nerd Central. And we were like, yeah, like what amps did he use and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, he's got the, Same Sky's got an awesome blonde Marshall there that sounds amazing. But they also acquired Lou Reed's actual guitar amp. It's called Lou's Big Head, and it's made by Soldano. And it's basically like a hot-rodded kind of crazier version of like a Solo 100, if I'm correct. I might not be. Andre or David David Messier probably will get on here and tell me I'm wrong or that I'm dead on, but they know better than I do. But it's a killing sounding amp. Like it's a great sounding amp. It's got that super fast articulation and like that great breakup overdriven distortion thing happening with it. And so we tracked with that amp. and I used my crazy Steve Vai gem to record it because duh. So yeah, I'll show you that guitar. It's right next to me with nasty strings on it. Oh, here I'll go full view here so you guys can see the whole dang thing here. Full screen. Whoa. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy guitar. You know, it's pretty tricked out. It definitely doesn't look like when I bought it, that's for sure. It was all white with gold hardware and had different guts in it, different everything else. But I had a friend of mine, Robert Massingale, paint it. He did all the cool, you can see all that kind of scroll work and stuff on the pickguard. It's kind of like, it's perloid under there, so you can still kind of see the perloid a little bit, but he did like kind of gun scroll silver over kind of a coppery color. And then if you can kind of see the, minus the reflection there, it's kind of black stained, but you can still see the wood a little bit. You can see it probably a little bit better in the back. It's a little kind of like wood stain, black and everything else. That's the original pickguard color, actually, right there. That's the original pickguard color. But now it looks like that. Whoa! And also the cool inlays, the kind of like branch tree of life. But also, if you can see, I don't know if you can see it well, it's Darth Vader lighting a cigarette with his lightsaber on the headstock, because I'm a Star Wars nerd. But yeah, and I put on all new hardware, different pickups that I liked better, Custom 5, Seymour Duncan in the bridge, a vintage rails in the middle, and then a 59, I do believe, in the bridge, or in the neck, excuse me. So yeah, I recorded with this guitar. It's like super solo, Steve Vai, tread, you know. And did that. And when we did the mix and we got it done, I got it back to the house and I was like, it's not what it could be. I'm not paying tribute to Satriani the way that I want to, And so in between recording the album and now, I acquired a very fancy piece of gear. It's called a Helix LT. It's a Line 6 kind of all-in-one pedal board thing. But what it does is it has amp simulation. So it can simulate a guitar amplifier. So you can plug straight into it, not have a bunch of your gear, and then just plug straight into that. It has many different amplifiers. Has like 120 something stomp boxes, so like your whole rig is basically in this one system. And they have some of the amps on there. They have the old school Satriani Soldano 100 amps on the system, on the modeling system. So I was like, you know what? I like the whole mix of this, the way that Andre did it. I just hate the guitar sound. So I'm going to re-record the guitars. I'll take everything, and I hit up Andre and I was like, could you do me a favor? Just send me the mix that you have basically in stems, which is like individual tracks, but like just how we have it mixed. And then I'm going to take out the guitars and I'm going to re-record the guitars. But I'm going to do it with the Helix because I can shape a guitar sound kind of the way that I want it. And so, man, like, it's pretty awesome how it turned out, I must say, and much more of the Satriani vibe that I wanted. So it's pretty amazing that this recording of the guitars isn't without, it's not recorded at Sam Sky. It's recorded straight from home. I did it during quarantine. Pretty crazy that the technology works that way, but it does, and I'll let you guys check it out. So I have it pulled up here, and you guys can hear it. It's nothing terribly fancy. I got the drum stems, so the drums are all bounced down into one track. I got the bass all down into one track. The rhythm guitar all into one track. We kept the rhythm guitar part that was recorded there, and we kept that for sure because it sounds great. It sounds fantastic. So I have 2 melody guitars and then a solo guitar track. So here's Eventide. Still fading. Still fading. Still fading. Yeah, I might shorten that a little bit, or at least start the fade like a little earlier. It's a little long, but you know, we'll see. But yeah, that one's Eventide. That's like kind of my tribute to Satch. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that one as well. Uh, yeah, I mean the other cool thing about having that whole like designing that whole sound the uh, on the Helix is that like that's saved on my Helix. So if I ever play this song live, I can just pull up that exact guitar sound up on the Helix and just play it. Like there's no, it's like the exact setup, you know. Which is part of that craziness with that thing. It's like you can have all these different amps and all these different choices of sounds and just be able to like pull them right up, you know. So yeah, stoked for that when I get to play it live at some point. If I ever do, we'll see. There's not a lot of chances that I get to do that kind of stuff with guitar and everything else. At least doing solo guitar work like that. So yeah, that's that one. And now we will move to the last track of the album, which is a solo guitar piece. Again, I'm going to start with a solo guitar piece, and then I'm going to end with a solo guitar piece. Kind of bookmark the album. I do believe at the end of Crystal Planet also ends with a solo guitar piece, so that's kind of like another shout out to Joe. Joe Satriani, if you're listening, thank you so much for your work. If you ever see this ever. Love you, buddy. Love you so much. And continue the awesome, great work that you do to this day. It's amazing. So yeah, so solo guitar piece, 8th and final track to this album, will be a tune called Space Between. This tune is more of like, it's in the meditation world again, but this is more of like the, kind of like the weird space of not quite the now space vibe, like you're in the zone, you're like completely in it, but you're somewhere in between that completely in it and then out of it, not quite sure where you are, and kind of like having to deal with that kind of not quite sure, kind of unsure, and living in the unsure, the kind of space between. So it's the space between then and now, the space between past and future, the space between good and bad. Could be called the gray area, if anything. But yeah, it's another idea that kind of spurted from meditation and from everything else. So I felt like it was best represented in a solo guitar piece. And kind of living with this unsureness of things. So yeah, let's check it out and listen to it. And you guys tell me what you think. Pull up the mixer real quick here, just in case. Here we go. yeah, so that's the end of that. Um, Actually, I'll go back into this so you can kind of see some things. So there is the beginning of this that I wanted to kind of like. I didn't want to just start like right on. I wanted something kind of almost to cleanse the palate before it started, kind of a thing. Something to kind of wash everything off. So I just figured this chord would just kind uh, of wash it off, so to say. Sorry, just one second. Just making sure there's something there. There we go. Um, so so yeah, I just figured this would be like almost like a palate cleanser and would slowly bleed into the new part. So just something to kind of just kind of wash over, you know, then breathe right into it. Yeah, so like there's that kind of a thing. Uh, and I for this one, I used strictly the helix on everything, and I used helix for the guitar sound. So like just the guitar sound. That's just the guitar, and that's my Strat back there on this track. So that's just the guitar. It's a divided duo head, their version of it, line 6 Helix. And then I used Helix Native, which, let me do this, is a plugin, basically something that you can get. If you don't have a Helix, you can get Helix Native. And it's a plugin that works with your digital audio workstation, your DAW, your DAW. And you can set up, basically this is what the Helix kind of master station looks like. It's all this stuff. It has all these different presets and everything else. There's actually, I have, all of my presets, stuff like that. I have different, user set lists, all that kind of stuff. I have all that kind of junk loaded in. But I love this reverb. And it's basically their version of it's called the Blue Sky or a Big Sky. They have two different versions, a smaller and a larger one. It's a pedal it's a reverb pedal that sounds amazing. And it has it has like a pitched, an octave below, and it has a pitched an octave high. And you can kind of blend it in. Excuse me, you can blend it in and kind of work with it. So here's just the reverb. Now, I added like some chorus just for that kind of left to right effect, that kind of slow, kind of pulsating left to right thing. So I'll take that off, but you can still hear it has some movement, it has some modulation to it. So that's just it by itself, and then with the chorus, you get that nice left and right kind of effect. So that's just the effect by itself, then I can add in the guitar. Yeah. But the guitar was tracked with the Helix, the effects were all Helix effects. So yeah, shout out to Line 6 on that one. Pretty awesome stuff and pretty awesome things to work with, especially in a recording sense, to where you can record stuff like that just strictly with Logic Pro and a nice guitar and a Helix or the Helix plugin. So yeah, that's the album. That's that's all the stuff there, everybody. That's thanks for sticking with me for 2 hours and listening to this new album and these mixes. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope that that you guys will enjoy it when it comes out. I'll talk about that. I'm not quite sure. I'm not putting a date on this because I'm not quite sure how I'm going to release it or how it's going to work or how it's going to happen in these strange times. I will tell you this. I'm going to move, not everything completely, but I'm going to move to a subscription-based service. And I'm going to have a lot of different options. I'm working on some different things, meditation music, on some working on a lo-fi EP right now, and some original music that won't be as complex as this, and also working on this album to get released. And so all of these things will come into fruition, and when I have them all collected and ready to go, I'm going to work on a subscription-based service where I will have videos like this of stuff that I do, stuff that I write, stuff that I record, kind of walking through the process. I'll actually do some live streams of recording, just certain things, just even if it's just for fun, even if it's just an idea that I had that I wanted to screw around with, which I do quite a bit, just to get the ideas out, just to get them, recorded and listen to them later, and do some live streams doing that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely looking to create some more content, some more stuff for viewers like you that want to kind of see my process a little bit, preview some of the stuff that I'm working on, and see, the process before the final product, but also have access to the final product when it's here. So that subscription service will be based around those ideas. It'll be based around getting to see kind of behind the scenes of everything, having access to that, but also having access to my entire catalog of music. So I'm really looking forward to getting that all together for all of you and getting some more of this wonderful music out into the world. So thanks again for watching this. I really, really appreciate it. Please, I'm going to say the things, like, share, and subscribe. Like this video. Just click on the like, let me know that you liked it. Definitely comment and let me know, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of, what you don't want to see more of. Just anything, just say hi, give me some comments, give me some ideas, stuff that you would like to see. I will take into account. And then share with your friends. Share this video with friends. Share stuff that you liked on my channel with friends. Just share with anybody you think that would enjoy this content and this kind of stuff. And subscribe. Subscribe, hit the little subscribe thing there on YouTube. And subscribe to my channel. It will give you notifications. YouTube is fantastic for this kind of stuff. It'll give you notifications on when somebody's posted a video. You'll have a subscription library. So you'll have all the videos that I post when I post them. You'll get notifications when I post, when I go live. It'll definitely keep you more in touch with what I'm up to and what I'm doing. I'm going to try to use YouTube as a more of a content platform. So I'm looking forward to making more stuff like this for all of you, especially with new music that's not out, that's not about to be released, and kind of the process of new music that's being made. So this is me signing off. Once again, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching any portion of this video. If you liked any part of this, if you learned something, if you just enjoyed it, if you just want to support an unemployed musician during the pandemic, there is two things on the screen right now. There is a PayPal, that's my PayPal, and there is a Venmo. So if you feel like tipping a musician, feel free to do so. I would much appreciate the support. You can also go to my website. That's my website, kevinflattmusic.com, and you can go there and check out music that I currently have for sale. There's 2 pages there. There's Old Peppers, that's my single that was released last December. And there's also my old EP, Dreams of Flying. It's 5 tracks of original music as well. So yeah, support me in that way if you can. And yeah, thanks again. Thanks again for tuning in. I really, 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 really appreciate all of you. And thanks for chatting and everything else. I can't thank everybody enough. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and looking forward to doing this again with everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.